I'm Lynette Zang, founder and CEO of Zang Enterprises, and we support actually a lot of transparency. And how do you get that? You use sound money, physical gold and silver in your possession, knowing what you're paying up front, because I can guarantee you hidden fees will eat you alive because they are like termites in a wooden house. You don't notice them at first, but over time, they quietly eat away at your foundation, leaving you with less stability and more damage than you ever expected. Please allow me to introduce you to those termites. 401k plans have never been hotter. That's changing the stock market. Indeed it is, because every Ponzi scheme needs new money and bigger players. And over time, they have transferred the risk, which I'm going to talk about more as we go through this, but they've transferred the risk from the corporations to the individuals. So let's just take a look at these 401k plans, which came into being in the 70s and the 80s. Power on Wall Street has consolidated among the four largest asset managers of these plans: BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, and State Street. These are the big players, but you know, back in the 80s when I first became a stockbroker, everything was about globalization and gathering assets in-house. What does that mean? That means that it used to be, prior to the 70s and prior to this transfer, you held the bearer bonds, right? So that means you hold them and you own them and you clip the coupon, but they're outside of the system. And also most people held their own stock certificates. Again, meaning outside of the system. So assets in-house was encouraging clients to hold your assets inside of that brokerage house, because guess what they get to do then? And we're going to talk more about that. They get to use your equity for their benefit. And we'll get back into that. But together, these four companies, manage assets worth 65% of the combined value of the shares of the S&P 500. That's huge. This is Wall Street's retirement plan for you. But I prefer you make educated choices that puts your best interest first. What a concept. So socking it away, right? So we can look at these market assets, which have grown exponentially since 95. And there are two different kinds of investments. There's DC, which is defined contribution, which means that you take on the risk. You're going to put money in, and who knows how much is going to come out at the other side of it. And of course, we have inflation that it gives you an additional whammy. But the other way is defined benefit, and this was primarily the way that it was done prior to 1971. And in a defined benefit plan, the corporations are telling you how much they will pay you for the rest of your life. Therefore, they were taking the market risk. No. This is all about risk transfer. So now, by a very wide margin, as I'm about to show you, and the way that they can engineer money, getting you to pay for the risk that you are taking, and at the same time, they, meaning these four companies and many others and Wall Street, control all of the assets and legally own all the assets. But in 2023, they had 38.4 trillion AUM, which is assets under management. And that means they get to collect these ongoing fees, and it's inflation. How great is that? It's so good to be king. So now, today, defined contributions, the risk to you, is at 69% of the retirement market. And those defined benefits, which is the risk to corporation, is only 31%. But let me add to that, because the private sector defined benefits is only 8%, which means that the public, whether they're taxpayers or they are investors, are taking 92% of the market risk, just the way Wall Street likes it. And by the way, you're paying those ongoing fees. And guess what? That $38 trillion retirement pool is not near enough. And it'll get a lot worse before it gets better. Much of the financial industry, shocking, is devoted to running retirement funds. It's a cash cow for them. You're paying for all the risk and they're just collecting those fat fees. 25 trillion in traditional pensions, 401k style plans and annuities, and 13 trillion in individual retirement accounts. And by the way, remember, they can use this and hypothecate. So this way, which means they can use your equity for their benefit and borrow and use that money any way they want. So you're looking at who's going to eat it in the shorts when this house of cards comes tumbling down. It's individuals and taxpayers, 92%. And let me remind you of the true legal ownership, because it is just your perception that you are owner and you're a beneficial owner. And this is so critical for you to understand, because this is how the power goes to the few from the many, right? All of those people that invest in their 401k and their IRAs and mutual funds, in ETFs, in annuities and variable annuities, etc., right? This is all about that risk transfer and the big banks being the legal owner, and everybody between you on the bottom as the beneficial owner and the big banks on the top as the legal owner, and all of their subsidiaries, they all get to use those same assets over and over and over again. And since most of these contracts are done in the City of London, there are no limitations to how many times those same assets can be used as collateral. That's why nobody went to jail in 2008. It wasn't by accident, it was by contract. Through a process, and this is really where the danger is, and where you're looking at these monopolies that have been allowed to become these huge behemoths and take away your choices as well. But through a process called proxy voting, large asset managers are able to vote on shareholder resolutions on behalf of their clients. That means that as firms like BlackRock and Vanguard gain more clients, they also gain more control over their votes. Okay? You don't have that control. They have that control. You have no say because you're just a beneficial owner. They have all the say because they're the legal owner. And do you remember that nobody went to jail in 2008, even though what they did was the great financial crisis, killed the system? It's because this is a Ponzi scheme. And every Ponzi scheme requires new members and new money. And it's all contract based, which means it's all counterparty risk. Some believe this ownership poses the greatest anti-competitive threat of our time. And I would be one of those that absolutely 100% agree with that. And they make it easy. You don't even realize the wealth that you're volunteering. And let me show you how they did that and you know, the changes that were made. Because this is plan participation rate by plan design, participant weighted trend. Okay, and this is from Vanguard. Participation is likely to continue to skyrocket in 23, 24, etc. because the Secure Act 2.0, always be wary of every title because it is really just the opposite. This makes you less secure, not more secure, because you're giving up more control of your wealth. But the Secure Act goes into effect. The bill that was signed into law in 22 requires employers to automatically enroll all eligible workers into their retirement plans at a savings rate of 3%, and that's the minimum. So what they found was when it was just voluntary, well, this is where you're volunteering, 64%, 56%, 60%, etc. But the adoption of automatic enrollment has more than tripled since the end of 2007, and particularly since the Secure Act 2.0 went into effect, so that through 2023, instead of what they would have been a 67% engagement, they got 94% enrollment. Because now you have to do something to opt out. If you're automatically in there, most people will just keep it status quo. And they don't look at the fees. They don't understand the fees. It's complicated. It's hidden. But boy, it sure does support Wall Street, doesn't it? And it sure does concentrate the power over these corporations and over you and over the pricing. Why is this a big deal? Why would it matter to you? Because you have fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer choices. They may have thousands of different funds, but they're running them. So fewer choices. Like you go into the grocery store and you think you have thousands of choices from all these different product brands. But when you dig a little bit deeper underneath the surface, what you find is that there are 6 key players in all of the food. So it is just a perception of choice. It is not true choice. And what that means is they can charge you anything you want and where you're going to go. The more control they have, the more control they have over you. I say, stop that control by getting out of the system into an undervalued asset. Because all of those Wall Street products, guess what? They're all denominated in this. And easy to take away, easy to devalue, and you don't even realize it. It's all a lie. So if you haven't done this yet, you want to make sure and get your strategy set up and go ahead and click that link. Give us a call, 833-GLDZANG, or do that QR code and get your strategy in place. Time is running out. Because let me just show you, the Wall Street products that are held in retirement plans are all ones that they can control, and they're all made out of this. All you can do is convert it back into that. And you can have 1 trillion of them. I have somewhere here. Here it is. I am a trillionaire in Zimbabwe. This is a $10 trillion Zimbabwe note. Do you know what I can buy with this? Absolutely nothing. And oh, by the way, make sure you watch the video that I just did live on the another overnight revaluation that just took place in Zimbabwe. But what are these Wall Street products that they're selling you? They're creating them. They make money when they create them. They make money when they sell them to you. They make money on ongoing fees as you continue to hold them. But it's cash, bonds, other balanced funds, target date funds, diversified equity funds, and company stock and brokerage. All fiat money products. Where's the sound money? Hopefully it's in your hands because you've called Zang Enterprises and you've set up your sound money strategy and you've converted a lot of this garbage into sound money that actually protects you. Actually does. What a concept. Because there are a lot of those ongoing fees in that 38.4 trillion in assets under management. And by the way, those are the assets under management. That means that they're gambling with your money and trading and making more money on it and taking more risks with your equity. Is that okay with you? Because I got to tell you, as an ex-stockbroker, I'm highly comfortable with these products, and I don't own one. Not one. Not one. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is that when they set these systems up, they think about how high fees, obvious fees, have to go in order to get you to not want to liquidate. And that means taxes, because what do people say in retirement? I don't want to pay those taxes. So you're looking at your account, you're thinking you got 100 grand, but in reality you don't, because the government can determine when they're going to tax you, how much they're going to tax you, how you're going to take that distribution, what the value of this stuff is inside of there. They have a whole lot more control between the central bank and the Wall Street banks, and then consolidated it into these BlackRock and entities and Vanguard, etc. I hope you can see how this funnel just gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you are choked. Make educated choices that put your best interest first, because expense ratios are drastically understated in the total cost of the fund. These are those hidden fees, right? Although the spread appears to be negligible right now, it will quickly add up over time. And in some cases, what we're looking at here, like in the Rydex real estate fund, and remember, you've got all of these links. Just click them, follow it yourself. Their total costs are 7.85% annually, but all you're seeing is 1.65% unless you dig into that itty bitty teeny weeny fine print in the prospectus. And then that's a difference of 6.2% a year. Do you think that's going to make a difference? And that's ongoing. That's why I'm telling you, the fees that you don't know, you may not like to pay, and they do it because people don't like to pay fees. But there really is no such thing as a free lunch. How about if they actually earn it? That's what we do at Zang Enterprises. We reveal everything. You may not like it, but it's real, and it's the only one. And then we earn it. Because the reality is, in traditional retirement, 401ks, IRAs, all that stuff, those fees eat up almost a third or more of household savings. And there are all different kinds of fees that you don't even know to look for because it doesn't make sense to you. And these are just some of the fees. These aren't all of them. Shareholder servicing, sub-TZ, investment management, asset wrap fees, 12B1 fees, and more. Do you even know about this? Of course you don't. Because this is not given freely. This is hidden from you so that you are not able to make educated choices. We want you to make educated choices. And we want you to put your best interest first. And you do that with sound money that's outside of the system and growing this community. Food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. Get it done. So they showed us a real example, and this is the fees cost an ideal household, 30.3% that are lost in ongoing marketing fees and all different kinds of fees, and fees upon fees and hidden fees. And oh gosh, there are funds that are funds of funds, which means fees upon fees upon fees upon fees. Clean, simple. You hold it, you own it outright, you're not paying those ongoing fees, and it's protecting you from that and all of those inflation fees that you don't even realize that you're paying. But I want you to know, because fees eat your principal, inflation eats your purchasing power. So while the fees eat your principal, inflation eats your purchasing power. There's official inflation, right? Looks like it's not so bad. Of course, our personal experience is way different. But that's what the stock market did. And look at what the spot gold manipulated market did. And that still does not reflect its true fundamental value. Even if it goes I think we could see it before the end of this year. If the spot market is above 3,000, it still does not reflect the true fundamental value. That you will see when our central bank and government is forced to do that overnight revaluation. So this is a bargain. This is cheap. You want to buy the NASDAQ? They'll make it look like it's going up, but in reality, the purchasing power is going down. That's the real trend. That's the one that impacts you and me. It's not how many of these things that you have. It's what you can convert them into. This maintains your purchasing power. It's why I like it as a barterable tool. This holds your purchasing power intact and then some, because it is so severely undervalued. And it gives you the opportunity to pay off fixed rate debt and to position into income producing assets. And I've done videos on that. I will do more. That's all part of the strategy. Opportunity presents to those who are in the right place at the right time with the right asset. And this, my friends, is a wealth transfer tool your way. How about that for a change? Because history has shown us dynastic wealth. A key feature of dynastic wealth, or a key tool of dynastic wealth, is gold. Because with gold, you can buy the other two legs, real estate and truly rare collectibles. And by the way, you can do all of that just with one of these. So I know absolutely 100% that together we can make a positive difference for the world. I want a seat at the table, meaning that I want to have a voice in the new currency. One person cannot do it alone, but together we can do it. I know we can do it. I've seen us be able to do it. And we can create this quiet revolution just by converting this garbage, fiat money, government money, into sound money. So this puts you in a position to take advantage of the wealth transfer, because this, I'm going to show you exactly what happens, right? If you're holding gold, well, guess what governments have to do, whether they're state or they're federal? When they need to raise capital, they have to sell off their income producing assets. If you're holding gold, guess what you get to buy? Most of the proceeds from the sale of Alton sewer system and water treatment plant would go toward combined police and fire pension debt of more than 113 trillion. Well, if they're selling their city water system, sewer system, guess who has the ability to buy it? Whoever is holding the gold. So if you want to show your support, give us a like, leave us a comment. It really helps the algorithm. And share, 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 share. Make sure if you haven't done it yet, subscribe, hit that button, that bell. We'll let you know when we're issuing another important video. It is critical that you protect yourself and your purchasing power and your family with sound money. And make sure that you watch our other videos of the shenanigans on Wall Street and in central banks, etc. One day only ETFs. Markets, Wall Street likes volatility because these are now trading markets. They're not investing markets. You want an investing market? Go to an undervalued asset that's in a long-term positive trend. And until next we meet, please be safe out there. Bye-bye.